My name is Nora, and I'm a Partner Development Manager on the Google Play Games team. I'm very excited to be here today because I get to speak about a subject that I am very passionate about, and that's live operations, and how LiveOps can help you engage your gaming communities to create long-term player retention and value. So, to kick off our agenda, I'll start with a framework to define live operations. That way we're all speaking with a common language. Then I'll talk a little bit about why LiveOps has become so important in today's mobile gaming ecosystem. But really, you shouldn't take my word for it, and that's why I've called in an expert. Keith Alexander, the LiveOps manager for Kabam's smash hit Marvel Contest of Champions. He'll be here to tell you about Marvel's best-in-class LiveOps program, and also to give you a few tips for running engaging LiveOps events in your games. So, what is LiveOps and why is it important? Put very simply, LiveOps is running games as a service. This means that your games become a living, breathing, organic product that is constantly changing, giving your new users a brand new experience each and every single day. The goals of LiveOps are to augment engagement, stimulate monetization, and prevent player churn. So let's dig a little bit deeper into how to actually achieve these goals. As you guys are already aware, content is king. New content is what keeps your players actively playing and actively spending in your games. The players who devote the most time in your game become your loyal fans and your best advocates. These are the players who have higher retention rates and higher session frequency. Now, Kabam has lovingly coined these players the regulars, but for all you Norm Peterson fans out there, anyone who knows what Cheers is, it's the Norm Petersons. High engagement and retention are the keys to creating long-term lifetime value. Because in the world of mobile gaming, content is king, and that means that time on device equals money. Your most active and engaged players are more likely to have higher LTV curves. So another way to think about LiveOps is the strategic distribution of content through time-limited sales and events. Now, when we talk about content in the context of LiveOps, we're not talking about large APK updates and client-side features. It can be small server-side changes. For example, adding a weekend tournament, or temporarily changing the drop rates in a dungeon, introducing a brand new hero character, or a new piece of legendary gear into your gaming economy. This new content is delivered in mobile games through two different channels, sales and events. When you sell content through a gacha or IAP bundles, you drive monetization metrics, such as new buyer conversion or ARPU. But using content as a chase prize in a competitive event can help you drive engagement metrics, like login velocity or session length. Making small server-side changes to your game or strategically cadencing small pieces of new content that are hidden within your large APK updates keeps the player experience fresh. But why is all of this important? Kabam CEO Kevin Chu recently wrote an article for GameIndustry.biz describing the mobile game revenue curve that he calls the shark fin. This occurs when a mobile game is released without a consistent pipeline of content to keep users busy. As you guys know, mobile gamers love to consume content, but they also get bored really easily. All your new content is bundled into large APK updates, but releasing that content all at once leads to rapid content consumption. Once a player runs through all that new content, they eventually get bored and then churn out of your game. This means that each of your new updates is reaching fewer and fewer players, and the revenue bumps that you see from these new updates diminish over time, creating these smaller and smaller shark fins. In his article, Kevin points to LiveOps as a way to minimize this revenue degradation. LiveOps limited time sales and events can help you slow roll the content held within your large APK updates, and thereby helping you avoid the shark fin, and instead helps to drive a steady and consistent heartbeat of revenue. But it's also important to note that LiveOps is not about short-term revenue gains. When executed properly, the strategy behind LiveOps is to engage and retain your users to create healthy, long-term lifetime value. So, to recap, LiveOps is running games as a service. It's the strategic distribution of content through time-limited sales and events. A consistent stream of new content will help you augment engagement, stimulate monetization, and prevent player churn. And finally, a happy and engaged gaming community drives consistent, healthy revenue, along with higher LTV curves to help you get the most out of your UA budgets. So by now, you guys are probably ready to see some real-world examples of these engaging LiveOps events. So it's my pleasure to bring to the stage the LiveOps manager for Kabam's Marvel Contest of Champions, Keith Alexander.
Thank you, Nora. Just getting your game launched is a huge achievement, often after months and months of hard work. But you're going to have to keep it running after day 1. What will keep the players interested on day 30, day 60, a year? Marvel is reaching its 2-year anniversary next month, and we have mountains more content and events today than we did when we launched. We're lucky to be working with Marvel, an IP with decades of history and a deep roster of interesting characters and stories. We build many of our events to tie in with current storylines or to create new ones in collaboration with Marvel. Running LiveOps is like continually adding to the story. Some examples are the characters we've created with Marvel, like Guillotine, Civil Warrior, and Venompool, as well as the Contest of Champions comic book. Here are some examples of past loading screens showing events or characters featured in the game. We had a Civil War event between Iron Man and Captain America over the summer. We added Loki, who was recently a featured hero. We had a series of quests where MODOK tried to take over the contest. And this month, of course, we're featuring Doctor Strange. Marvel Contest of Champions, at its core, is a fighting game with fairly simple mechanics. You dash in and out, you have 3 strengths of attacks, and a few special moves. But the team continuously has been working on adding new variations through new buffs, mechanics, events, and heroes. It keeps the gameplay fresh for our loyal players. A great example tying all of this together is Ghost Rider, who was just added to the contest. He was featured in our monthly event quest for October called Pandemonium Rising. He has a new mechanic that fits with his character called Judgments that have different effects depending on how and when you attack. He's also more effective against villains like Ultron or Venom. A lot of work was put into the art and design to be authentic to the original character. We added a new mode-specific boost for this quest that players could use to complete the event content. We supported this with a new splash screen and a new special event calendar as well. Just by adding this one character, we can use events and other small game changes to engage players for an entire month. So let's break this down a bit more. Here are 5 tips from the Marvel LiveOps team on how to run a successful and engaging LiveOps event. The first, run a variety of events. Variety is definitely the best way to keep the core gameplay fresh. The goal is to run a variety of events to engage different types of players and incentivize different player behaviors. Here are some examples. We have arenas running all of the time for those players who want to compete for top rewards like 4-star featured heroes or rare upgrade materials. But there are also arenas for mid-range players for 3-star heroes and hero crystals. So it doesn't just cater to the top veterans, but a wide range of players. This was one of the very first events in the contest, and it promoted competition as well as a deep champion pool in order to succeed. In general, events with competition often do better than events without a competitive component. So if you're limited on the events that you can run, start with a competitive one. And this is shown in the above stat. Players who compete in arenas tend to complete a lot more fights than those who only do quests or alliance events. Arenas are more competitive and can motivate players to participate in more fights. Anyone at any phase of the player lifecycle can go on quests. These are maps with a variety of opponents the player needs to defeat in order to progress. The main story quests are increasing in difficulty, and we also have monthly event quests with 4 difficulty levels. Players can choose which version they want to attempt and earn rewards respective to the difficulty they complete. These come out monthly, kind of like a comic book. Over 20% of monthly active users complete at least half of a monthly quest. This might seem like a low percentage, but it includes new players who are more interested in the main story. We can see from our data that a constant stream of quest content improves the retention of our regulars, and it is one of the main reasons we continue to build them each month. Alliance quests are also a huge part of our game. Players work together with their alliance to complete a quest map. These maps can have challenging bosses with much more powerful buffs, requiring coordination from all members of the alliance to complete. But together, they can earn some of the best upgrade materials in the game. Many of the events are launched server-side rather than based on a build or APK. The game configurations control pretty much everything within the game. We used them to update the daily quests with additional shards and fragments earlier this year, as well as randomizing some of the enemies and ambushes. We can create and send messages, launch new quests and events, and add new sales or promotions at any time. Our daily login calendar is controlled in the same way, allowing us to create special event calendars like the one for Ghost Rider. This gives us a great deal of flexibility when planning our events. And this speaks back to what Nora was talking about in avoiding the shark fin. The more control you can give your LiveOps team on the server side, the more content and iteration they can do without major build releases. Periodically, we also add special event content, often linked to things going on outside of the game. We added factions during our Civil War event, which coincided with the launch of Captain America: Civil War. Players could choose to be on Team Captain America or Team Iron Man. There were special quests and buffs associated with each faction, and players could switch partway through if they wanted to earn both rewards. Chloe's Warriors of Awesomeness Challenge was a series of tough battles in an event we did with Chloe Bennett, the actress from Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And we've also done versions of this with Ming-Na Wen and Clark Gregg. And our newest event is a Doctor Strange Dimensional Rifts, adding portals to our maps in conjunction with the release of the Doctor Strange movie today. These special events attempt to shake up the routine and have your players change their behaviors for a short period of time. Adapting to the special event and then adapting back to a pre-event state both adds variety. Remember, variety isn't just the type of event you run, but also who is playing. Some players are very into the PvP arenas, while others are into being the best at completing the PvE quest content. Other players focus on social events like alliance quests or alliance battles. Different type of players are going to gravitate to different areas of your game, and variety is trying to ensure there's something for everyone. Now, we didn't launch with all of these elements. They've been built up over the past 2 years. Each layer we added was built with the other layers in mind, and many of the later events we added were alliance-related. The social and cooperative element is an important part of keeping players interested in your game. Cadence events to maximize engagement. Major events are planned far in advance. Some elements of Marvel Contest of Champions are sketched out all the way to 2020. We have an amazing back-end tool called Sparks that allows us to automate a lot of the staples of the game. So many of the alliance and solo events are set up to require very little of our time to keep running. That allows us to focus on what variations or additions we can add. So let's talk about an example week in the game. The arenas are constantly running, with feature hero events running twice a week. We release a new hero every other week. So one week it will be for a brand new hero, and the other week it will be for an older champion. The idea is this gives players who want the new featured hero, they'll get a break every other week. But we still have some hardcore players that want to win every single arena no matter what. Alliance events are run with 7, 3, and 1 day durations. The 7-day Summoner Advancement event starts at the same time every week, but the 3-day events are on a 12-day rotation, and the 1-day events are on an 8-day rotation. These events have different goals and drive different player behaviors, but the staggered rotations mean that the events will stack up differently each week. Alliance quests are run every 8 days, 5 days on, 3 days off. During this time, alliances compete to move up brackets and earn better rewards. The alliance versus alliance battles are about 2 days long, and in general, alliances can complete about 3 a week. Both of these modes use champion lockouts. That means champions used in these events will not be able to be used in other modes. This expands the champion pool a player needs in order to participate in all of the content. You can't just use your one best character or one best team in every mode in the game. Every month, we add a new event quest that players can complete. This quest usually includes 2 or 3 of the heroes that we plan to release, as a way of introducing them to the players. Last month, it was Ghost Rider, and this month, it will be Mordo and Dr. Voodoo. Our fastest players can complete heroic and mastery difficulty versions of this quest in about 6 to 8 hours. And if they're the top 100 fastest, they will earn extra rewards and a Legends title in the game. So we have quite a few players striving for that goal. In addition, there are the special event quests, like the Chloe quest, and every day we run daily quests for upgrade materials. Finally, solo events. We added these in the past summer. These are shorter events players can complete on their own with 22-hour and 7-hour durations. These are different in that they're random. They're pulled from a pool of possible events. Each time an event ends, the player won't know which event will occur next. If you're looking for 2 events to stack up, like the 22-hour general level up event and the 7-hour class-specific level up event, you're going to have to keep logging in and checking the game to see which events are running. But if you find a situation where both are running, you can double up on rewards for the same amount of effort. The schedule is packed full of things to do each week to keep even our most voracious players busy. The players who enjoy your game the most, the ones who are most invested, are usually the ones that will complete your content first. Keeping them happy with new content on a consistent basis is a key factor in retaining those players. Reward players based on participation. Different rewards from different areas of the game help spread out player activity. We intentionally made arenas the best place to earn gold to upgrade your champions. Alliance quests are the best place to earn late game upgrade materials, and alliance battles are a great way to earn new heroes. Spreading the different currencies and upgrade materials into separate events means players have to spread their resources, and with the champion lockouts I mentioned earlier, this leads to players needing to upgrade multiple champions rather than just their top 5. So not only do rewards promote variety by getting players to participate in different game modes, it also increases the value of top champions and upgrade materials. Some types of rewards. Milestones give players a clear goal to achieve. They know how much effort it will take to reach milestone 5, and they can determine if they want to stretch and reach milestone 6. But the very best rewards are found in rank rewards, where the player must compete on a leaderboard with each other for top items. That way, players determine the ceiling on the effort needed to earn the rewards. As the top players increase in power, so will their top scores. We also use bracketed rewards. This image is from an old version of our Alliance Quest brackets. Doing well and earning a high score could move you up to greater rewards, while not doing quite as well could get you bumped down to a lower bracket. This is an added level of competition, as not only do you have to do well on a given event, you have to continue to do well to maintain your position. All of these are ways you can reward your players, but in general, a combination of milestones and rank rewards works best. Milestones work well with a broad range of players, while rank rewards entice the smaller percentage of very competitive players. We use data analytics to look at the number of players who hit each milestone or rank reward, and this helps us make decisions on tuning and future events. Think globally and localize. We're continuing to grow Marvel and reach additional markets by adding more languages to the game. We've added Dutch and Norwegian in October, and recently added simplified and traditional Chinese. You'll obviously have a hard time reaching players who do not understand your events and promotions, even if they love your game. With planning and a great localization team, you can greatly increase the efficiency and reach of your LiveOps by improving your localization. In addition to languages, targeted promotions based on region or holidays can be very effective. We've run targeted promotions in countries like Russia, Mexico, and Brazil, and for special occasions like Ramadan. Marvel Contest of Champions runs on one server, which means all countries and time zones usually get the same events. When we added solo events, we made them 22 hours and 7 hours so that the start and end times would not be static. So where one 22-hour event might start at 10 p.m., the next one will start at 8 p.m., and the next one will start at 6 p.m., and so on. The start and end times for these events change so that it's more fair to people in different time zones. This is not always possible with your events, but when dealing with global events, it's something that you have to keep in mind. Collaboration between great teams. LiveOps makes the events happen in-game, but we are lucky to have all of these teams supporting us. And I'll highlight a few of these teams on the next few slides. Lifecycle Marketing and social media channels can reach players outside the app and re-engage lapsed players by letting them know there are new, exciting events happening in the game. That means planning events well in advance and LiveOps working closely with these teams. A combination of Lifecycle Marketing, LiveOps, and data analytics can make your processes more efficient and improve the effectiveness of your messaging. Remember, be relevant, timely, and succinct, have a clear call to action, show value and urgency, and segment and target your players. Your community manager and customer service teams are the ones interacting with your players on a daily basis. They can provide valuable feedback on events and will be the first to let you know if there are issues. When we talk about regulars, we're talking about long-term, active players with a love for your game. And these teams help ensure your players become regulars. Teams helping extend your reach are also important. Marketing and business development help us work with our partners like Marvel and Google Play. Increasing user acquisition through Google Play featuring or collaborations with Marvel are very beneficial and often require LiveOps support. We have had some of our team recently at New York Comic Con to meet with players and do interviews. There was a giant booth in the Marvel area, and we set up a special event battle and gave prizes from a prize wheel. It was great for the team to interact with players in that way. I've heard that some of the players spent most of their day repeatedly coming back to beat the quest so they could take additional spins on that prize wheel. And finally, a talented development team paired with insightful analytics can create powerful results. Even if it's something as simple as improving your tutorial completion rate by 1%, if you keep improving small percentages, they will add up to big returns. The data science team is embedded with LiveOps. Their dashboards provide us with up-to-date KPIs like retention, engagement, and player event participation. Whenever we have a question, we can go to them and get an answer. When we create new events, it's often a joint effort between the design, LiveOps, and data teams to build and tune the event before it goes live. LiveOps also works closely with the design team on any new features, ensuring that the launch of the feature goes smoothly. But as any developer with a live game can tell you, things don't always go smoothly. So I'm going to tell a short story about the YOLO incident. So one Friday evening, we were surprised to see a bright orange banner appear in the game with one word, YOLO. And it seems that there was an incredibly rare bug that caused a test message to be sent as an announcement rather than a general chat message. So all the players in the game are now looking at the words YOLO in bright letters at the top of their screen. And I am so thankful that it was YOLO and not any number of possible other words or phrases that we could have used for a test message. The LiveOps team quickly pulled down the message. The QA team found the problem almost immediately, and our tools team fixed the issue in under an hour. Our community team quickly messaged out to our community that it was a mistake, and by the next morning, an artist had created this wonderful image, which we posted on our Facebook social media page, where it became one of our most liked images. We were able to quickly turn a negative into a positive, thanks to the whole team jumping on the issue. So here's an extra bonus tip: versatile tools. These are some things you want in your back-end tools. Flexibility. You want to create a tool that can build a lot of variations so that you can iterate on your events. Also, building in features that allow you to target groups of players can help optimize your promotions and sales. Data tracking. If you don't track and log your events, you're going to have a harder time figuring out what went right or what went wrong. Willingness to iterate. And this isn't just about iterating on your events. You need to iterate and improve your tools so that you can create more sophisticated events and promotions. And one last point: scheduling and automation. Every December, the studio shuts down between Christmas and New Year's. But rather than that be a slow period where not much is happening in the game, Christmas is one of our busiest times of the year. So to do this, we build all of the events ahead of time before the break. Then we just push the events when needed and ensure everything runs smoothly. If there are any issues, we can fix them all server-side without support from the rest of the development team. By building this kind of tool, you can continue to launch content to your players in between builds, but it requires an upfront investment and a commitment to maintain it. We're constantly tweaking and building upon our events. As the game ages, so do the players and their champion teams. Our data team provides us with metrics that help us analyze players so we can make informed decisions with our events and our rewards. So when we're building events, we start with a goal. What are we trying to accomplish with this event? What kind of KPIs can we use to measure it? Can we build it without client support? If support is needed, we can see if we can get it added to the product backlog. But if we can build it, we launch it and we analyze how it does. Did it do well or not? Why? How can it be improved? If the event goes really well, is there a way to permanently add this event to the game or build upon it with additional development support? By adding more flexibility and control into your tool, you can increase LiveOps' ability to iterate and improve your events. So, to recap, run a variety of events, competitive and social ones, cadence your events to maximize engagement, reward players based on participation, think globally and localize, invest in talented teams and communicate, and of course, invest in back-end tools. One final example to wrap this all up is the new Doctor Strange event. Players will earn currency called dimensional shards by participating in different events over the next 5-week period. The more they participate, the more shards they'll earn. Using this currency, they can open up new dimensional rifts, which are limited time quests with very valuable rewards. They can choose when they want to open these rifts, so they aren't locked to any start or end time. And this new event is the result of the hard work of countless talented people all working together so that the LiveOps team just has to hit a button and launch the event. Thank you.